All right. Welcome. Welcome once again to 3 Point Podcast, the Ministry of Mental Health. Once again, we're coming to you live here, Bridge Crosser Solutions. I'm the founder, Fernando Kittrell, and I want to thank you for tuning in once again to our 3 Points Podcast. Got an interesting topic today, something that I thought that came to me. And actually, I was discussing this topic with someone else. And we started to talk about it, and it became greater as far as awareness to the struggle that many people have with this, and that is overcoming the comparison game. Overcoming the comparison game. So I'm going to give some people some opportunity to get on so we can kind of go into this a little more in detail. You know, we're living in a chaotic time, frustrating time for many, loss of jobs and just a lot of things going on. And the thing that we can control and improve the most, I believe, is our mental health, is our ability to grow and to learn and to function and to be able to make healthy and wise decisions in this time. And if we're not careful, we can get caught up in this game of which I call the comparison game. It is a game because you got your mind and you have life, and then you have your sanity, all competing for attention. And it becomes a game of who moves wisely and who moves this way. But I believe we can master, even though we're in chaotic times and chaotic situations, we still can have a healthy mindset, and we still can function and have the ability to critically think and to maneuver and to progress in the times such as this. So today we're going to just talk about that. You know, how do we do that? How do we do that successfully as we're navigating? I mean, this is a ridiculous hour right now, and I want to encourage you. And here at Bridge Crosser Solutions, my team of professional coaches, or the team of professional coaches, we're committed to helping you. So, all right, let's dig into this. All right, overcoming the comparison game, overcoming it. What do you have to do? What do you have to do to overcome things? You know, number one, before we even get into the 3 point aspect of this, you know, you got to want to be healthy. You have to want to something better. But I do admit there are times where people don't know what they need to want. They don't know what to want. They don't know what to desire. I remember talking to a gentleman some time ago, and we shared some. I shared some information with him, and he was blown away. And he said, "Wow, I forgot what peace felt like." You know, sometimes we can forget what peace what peace feels like. We can forget what it is to have a healthy mindset sometimes when we've been in dysfunction so long. And if we're ever going to overcome comparing ourselves to others, we got to start looking at the negative perspective of comparing ourselves to others, how it impacts our mind, our thinking, and really essentially our progress. So now let's be real about it. You ever compare yourself to someone else, and you begin to look at them and you begin to wonder why they have a certain thing and why you don't have a certain thing, and you begin to devalue your own worth. You begin to put down or downplay your progress. You know, many times we've gone through a lot. We've overcome a lot of barriers. We've set things in place. And the moment we compare ourselves with someone else, the moment we look at them and we allow them to be the gauge that we use to determine if we're healthy or successful, is the very moment we undermine all the blood, sweat, and tears it took just to get to that point that we are at. And so there's nothing good that comes out of comparing yourselves with others. Now, before I get more into that, let me flip that. Let me flip that a little bit. There is a healthy comparison. There is a healthy way that we can compare ourselves. And that's from a perspective when you're looking at something that someone is doing, or they're at a particular place or a situation that's in line to where you're going, and you begin to look at that and glean information from it. Now, so there is a healthy way to compare when you're looking to obtain a different way to maneuver or position yourself, or posture your mind, or position your situation into a better flow. So, but you have to be mature from that perspective. When you're growing and you're mature, and you're looking at someone who has more than you, or they has something that you're trying to obtain, you can compare to see what you need to do better. So that's a healthy perspective on comparing ourselves. But in my experience, generally, in the past, the majority of people that I coach with, or maybe just from a client coach perspective, they struggle with comparing themselves in an undermining way, in a downplaying way, or in a way that causes them, once they finish looking at what this person has better or more than them, they become angry. So I want to talk about this and this, because so many people are being hindered right now. So many people are at a standstill. And it's not that they don't have the goods. It's not that you're not in the right flow. It's not that you don't know the right people. It's not that you're not confident. But the moment you compare yourselves, it triggers something that says, well, I'm going to drop this, or you restart it, or you put it on the shelf because you looked at that person's success and then gauge or judge yourself. Let's look at this. Many times when we see people successfully doing things, we have to be careful that we don't judge them. Well, let me put it like this. We judge them, or we look at them from our perspective, not from their perspective. Their perspective is, you don't know what it took for me to get here. So when that person comes out in the open with something that's great, or a business idea, or they're going forth with something, they just didn't start that the day you saw them. The day that we noticed them was the day it was just revealed to us what they're doing. But they've been behind the scenes. They've been undercover. They've been working. They've been faithful. Then finally they're coming out. So in that person's mind, they've been through a lot to get here. But when we see them and we begin to compare ourselves with them, we're wondering how they got there so quickly. But they didn't get there so quickly. They had a time of preparation and process. Process plays a major role in how we develop. So we judge them from our perspective, not from theirs. And when we judge from ours, we always see that, how could they go before me? Or look what they have, and then look what I have. But if we begin to put in the work, if we begin to align ourselves in a healthy manner, we too can also be unveiled for others to see that it was our time as well. But you got to put the work in. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about let's give point number 1 today in 3 points: how to overcome the comparison game. This is really what I use a lot to know if something's good or bad. And this is a natural way to discern something. This is kind of like a technique that I use to gauge myself, to make sure I'm in a proper mindset, or I'm in a healthy alignment, so I won't get off into a negative mood swing and be depressed and get upset. So point number 1. How does comparison make you feel? When you compare yourselves to other people, and the negative side of it, and you begin to feel devalued, your process is not valid. I'm not worthy. We have to be honest. How does that make you feel? It doesn't make us feel good. So if it doesn't make us feel good, why do we want to keep doing that? That's point number one. Let's begin to identify the mood that comparing ourselves with others puts us in. It puts us in a negative mood, makes us oppressed sometimes, depressed, makes us feel like, okay, my job or what I'm doing is not right, so let me try to do this. So if we could just be honest about the mood and the emotional effect that comparing ourselves with others has on us, maybe we'll have a little more effort to avoid actually doing it. You know, you ever toil all night or all week doing something? Man, I'm pressing in. I'm doing this. I'm going forward. I'm doing this. Then the moment you look at someone else, it blows on your mind. It blows what you did out the water, and then you begin to downplay all that effort. Now, that's not a good feeling. So if we can be honest that the feeling or the emotions that we experience when we compare ourselves, maybe we will fight more not to compare ourselves, because what it brings is that unhealthy mindset about yourself and about what you're doing and what you've been doing. Can y'all see anything in that? So if we're going to have a healthy mental health, if we're going to have a perspective that's healthy, that complements our growth, we have to identify when we get into that negative mindset, the emotions that come with it. You know, this darkness that overwhelms us the moment we begin to downplay ourselves. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like that feeling. I don't want to feel like that. So if we don't want to feel like that, we have the power and we have the power and the will to avoid it. So if you know comparing yourselves with others, getting upset because someone has something more, or they did it better, or they did it faster, or how could they have this? You know, you start thinking like that. If you know that triggers you, brings you into a dark place, then let's be honest, let's not do it. We can simply make a decision or give a concerted effort to fight against that, and then start having a situation where we start complimenting, encouraging them, or being happy for another person that made it, so to speak. All right. So we got to identify. We have to identify the mood that it puts us in. And as we identify, we'll begin to really put more of an effort to not be that. And so we'll begin to do the opposite. We'll begin to have positive self-reflections. We'll begin to express ourselves differently as we can start comparing ourselves. We'll start maybe comparing ourselves from a positive perspective. And from that, we can glean what we can do better to help ourselves grow and develop in a healthy manner. So that's point number one. Identifying the emotional state that comparing yourselves with others do, that it brings on you. Let's identify that. Let's be ready to recognize when we're triggered to compare ourselves and we feel that negative tone that comes upon us. We got to say, oh, you know what? I feel it happening. I will not get into that negative mindset, because to be honest, sometimes when we get into that negative mindset like that, it's hard to come out. It's hard to maneuver beyond it, because that moment can kind of last from that moment to like an hour. The next thing you know, you put what you've started back on the shelf until you get in a better mood again. So if comparing yourself is doing that to you, then it makes sense to want to avoid comparing yourselves with others in a negative way, and really look at your own success and progress. So that's point number one. Point number two, this is something that I started doing based on a conversation with one of the colleagues of Bridge Crosser, one of the coaches rather of Bridge Crosser Solutions, and a friend, Coach Adrienne. She introduced me to using what is called the WIN board. The WIN board. Now, I may have heard of that, maybe, I'm not sure, but the concept is really profound. Is a WIN board is simply a dry erase board. And she really masters this in a great way. I never seen nobody do it like this. where you just dry erase board, so you can easily write with the dry erase markers, and you got the eraser where you can get any size, but it's used for really highlighting your wins. That's why it's called a win board. It's you can use it for a lot of things, but we call it the win board because you journal, so to speak, or highlight your wins for the day or for the week. Or you can put your challenge up there, and then when you overcome it during the day, you can put down how many times you was faced, but then you battled and you won. So it creates an opportunity for us to visibly just have before us documented efforts of our success. So if your goal is to not get upset when someone has something more, you won't allow it to trigger you. That's used because we're talking about comparison. And then when you're faced with it and you fight through it and you win, instead of being angry and upset and compare yourself, you actually are, you know what, I feel good because you fought. Now you go to your win board and you just put a check by it or a line on how many times that day that you conquered that goal. And what that does, that puts before you on a continued basis of your successes. So you're constantly seeing it as you walk to the refrigerator, as you go to the bathroom, depending on where you put the win board, but it's before you. You know, I won today. Or you could put the time you won in, or you could just journal or write anything on it. But the essence of it is used for, we call it the win board because you're constantly highlighting your wins. So if you're highlighting your wins and you're actually seeing yourself winning and overcoming every time you put a check, that check is going to remind you of what the situation of, the battle it took, and then how you overcame it. Now, you keep doing that enough times, you're not going to have time to think that you're not successful. You're not going to have time to compare yourselves with others because you think they're doing something more or better. And then you downplay or undermine your own self-worth or value. You're actually using the win board to highlight and document, and you know the situations. So every time you put a check and then you walk by it, you're going to remember what those checks mean. So it's going to continue to build your confidence and your self-confidence, and it's going to allow you to really value your own process, your own journey. Everyone's journey has value to it. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone approaches their journey differently, but every journey has a process, and the process is what is really where the value is, because this process is just a time period or a period of time towards the goal. The goal is going to happen regardless. The goal is coming to pass. We don't have to worry about the goal if we could just stay in the process, fight comparing ourselves to others, because when you keep comparing yourself to others, you're going to keep stopping and going and wondering and hoping and wishing. No, but this win board is just a tool to use to help strengthen your mind to say, I'm on the right path. I'm winning. Every time you overcome, I'm winning. And you might have some losses. Winning doesn't mean you're going to win every time. Win means that you know what the pattern is, you know what it takes, but there may still be some losses, but you're highlighting your wins. And as you begin to see your wins being highlighted, it's going to start building you up. It's going to build you up bigger, and you're going to feel stronger. You're not going to have the need to compare, thinking that they're doing something so supernatural when you yourself are looking at, you know what, I'm doing things too. God is helping me walk through some things. So the win board. So that's point number 2. Use the win board. That's important. You have to begin to see your victories, see it with your eyes, see it in your eyes, and you will see it in time. So when you walk past, put your win board by the refrigerator. You walk past the refrigerator, when you also getting a glass of milk or Kool-Aid or whatever, you're getting a glass of water, or you're getting some chicken or whatever it is, pork chops or whatever. But every time you open that door, that win board, you see victory. Every time you get some water, oh, I see a check, victory. Every time you go over here, you walk past to go wash dishes, oh, I see the win board. Or if you have it by your bathroom, or you have it in your bedroom, every time you're taking your shirt off or you're changing clothes, you see that check that says victory. And when you see the victory next to the words that maybe is stop comparing myself. And then 6 times that week, you got to check. Well, I was faced with it, but I won. I won again. Next thing you know, it's not an issue anymore. So a win board is so important. So point number three, this is the thing that we're going to have to do. And this is where a lot of people struggle with, is stop engaging or interacting with the things that keep triggering you to compare yourselves to others. Now, probably the biggest thing that triggers people from just from my experience and talking with people, and I can see how it can happen, is using social media, being on social media so much. People often, I watch people's comments and I see the people that are on it a lot. After a while, if you're not careful, you will let social media become a gauged, unhealthy gauge of your success. And it can trigger you to start comparing yourselves and downplaying yourself because you're seeing people post, living my best life now. People in Hawaii quoting, got a new raise, I'm in Hawaii. You don't know if those are photo ops. You don't know if people just took their picture and put it over here so they can appear a certain way. You know, I was reading something not too long ago about a famous rapper, I believe it was. I'm not going to say the name, but if I said it, y'all probably would know who it is. Y'all probably would, yeah, y'all would know. And he was caught out there taking pictures in front of expensive cars or airplanes, putting himself in the picture or actually being in the picture, but it just necessarily wasn't his car or plane. You know, you keep seeing that, it can trigger you to think, man, I'm not doing enough, because you're letting the continual appearance of social media posts trigger you to think or downplay your process, and then you back at square one again. So I want to encourage you. This is point number 3. You have to limit or decrease or limit your social media activity, or anything that's causing you to be triggered. Why keep engaging the thing that's harming you? Why keep engaging in the thing that's triggering you? You're constantly being triggered by the thing that's entertaining you. So we want to be wise. Now, a healthy way is be selective on who you follow, be selective on what you follow. And because if you're trying to overcome the comparison game, there has to be a strong intentionality towards overcoming it. So you're going to have to make some drastic changes. I'm not saying that it has to quit all the way, but maybe in some cases, maybe for a season, but you got to get your mind back. You got to get your mind from a place from being triggered continually by watching somebody who may lose weight in 6 steps and they've lost weight and you're trying to lose weight. And then you start comparing, oh, they got it done faster. Do you see how the cycle continues? That the triggering and the negative emotions. And so we have to start distancing ourselves from that thing. So sometimes we distance ourselves from either limiting it or just ceasing or stop doing it altogether with a plan. So you create a plan to maybe a certain times I'm going to get on here, but hopefully that you're being matured from doing point 1 is being honest about your triggers, then using a win board and maybe doing those things, you're being strengthened where you might not need point 3 as much, but point 3 is really there as a guide to help you to just really be, after you're honest, after you're documenting your successes, be wise and start getting mature. So you're not always engaging the thing that's triggering you. You know, it's like somebody who's constantly bullying and picking on you, making you feel like you're nobody, and you're going to keep inviting them over for dinner. That doesn't make sense. That makes sense. That's competing with your peace. It's competing with your growth. It's competing with your healthy perspective. So I want to encourage you. To limit or cease just engaging or interacting with those things that keep you in a mode, that keep triggering you to compare. You know, so those are the 3 points today. You know, as we talk about, or we're dedicated to the ministry of mental health. So everything we do here at Bridge Crosser Solutions is about helping people have greater mental health, greater capacity to think, to perceive, and because mental health impacts every area of our life. Everything has a mental health component: relationships, society, social, economic. Everything has a mental health piece, and we want to be healthy, and we got to do those things that increase our mental health capacity. So this is Fernando Cottrell for another 3 points. Go to our website, www.bridgecrossers.com. There's a lot of things on there you can look into. We all, as I mentioned, we have coaches, a team of coaches, including myself, where we are here to bring hope and healing and just to help you overcome whatever the bridges are or the bridge is in your life. We can help you, and we want to help you by crossing together with you. We all need help. We all need an extended hand. So whatever your struggle is relationships, marriage, you need some mental health support in some areas. We have a team of individuals that are skilled in various things and as professional coaches, and we want to help you. So I want to thank you again for tuning in to 3 Points Podcast. And you got any questions, you can go to our page, contact us. Everything is confidential. If you got questions you want us to address on here, we're here to help you. So, all right. So, all right. Well, thank you again. And remember, you're not alone. Your mental health matters. For every bridge you can cross, let's cross together. All right. Fernando Cottrell here. I am out. Peace.